Hey Sherry, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Did you connect
Hello,
with Barn to
I'm
Door?
fine.
No,
So,
I'm going to do that this week.
Okay. Just let me know if you have any trouble.
Okay. I did get the email. I just haven't had time yet.
I know it's a busy time of year for you guys.
I'm just crazy. And then it was Easter weekend, so I figured I better not call then.
Yeah. No, it's a busy time for sure. Did you have a nice Easter?
Yeah, that was one day I didn't work and I cooked.
Oh, so you worked in a different way.
Didn't do anything.
Yeah, good for you. What'd you make? Do you make your Atlantic Beach pie?
My girl in the kitchen was just telling me.
You're fading in and
Uh,
out for some reason.
I told her I have a girl in the kitchen that cooks, and she made some extras.
Oh, good.
Trying to give her we took some orders because people have fell in love with that pie. We didn't make it up. We just started making it, and people fell in love. And then we do carrot cake. Everybody loves the carrot cake we make, and some other little desserts. So just to give her some work.
Yeah. So the guy who invented that pie is a good friend of mine. His name
Oh
is
really?
Bill Smith. Yeah,
Yep.
Bill Smith is from Chapel Hill. He's actually from New Bern, but he made his name at a place called Crook's Corner where he was a chef for 30 years. And so he's credited with that Atlantic Beach pie. And when I saw it on your site, I sent it to him and he gave me a big thumbs up. So
Yeah.
he's a
That's what
real
I
good
tell everybody.
guy.
I said we didn't. I tell everybody we didn't create it, but it's. I guess you can only get it in restaurants or if you made it yourself,
Exactly. Yeah.
And so we made it, and everybody loves it.
Yeah, yeah, it's a neat idea, and he's a really interesting guy. He one of the things he's been doing, he retired from Crook's Corner about 2 years ago, I think. But what he's been doing in his spare time is raising money for restaurant workers during the pandemic. So he
Oh,
he
that's cool.
started a fundraiser. I think he's raised over $250,000 uh, to help out of work restaurant workers during the pandemic. He's a
I
really
just
cool
don't know
guy.
how they're not. I don't. They're not even got them 100% now. It's just crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Hmm.
I just thought it was really neat that he came up with that and
Oh
you know
yeah.
he's well known. He's been around a long time, so a lot of folks in the community have supported him because, they know him. And I think it's great when people like that decide to get involved in something. And, in his case, these were people he knew, I mean, these were people who worked for him or friends or whatever. He'd been in the restaurant business in Chapel Hill since 1989 or something like that. So it's a good story. He's a good guy.
Yeah, that's good.
So I was going to tell you this while we're waiting for folks to come on. You might find this of interest. So there is a couple of companies online in South Carolina that basically sell cakes online.
Yeah.
And one of them last year did $5.5 million in sales.
See, I don't want to do all that.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you, the
I
market's
make
pretty
money,
big.
but I don't want to be well, that's the whole, our kitchen is not equipped for mass production. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
My sister-in-law started the kitchen, and we make cream cheese pound cakes during strawberry season. So people buy the cream cheese pound cakes to go with their strawberries to make strawberry shortcake.
I
That's
see.
how it kind of started. And then we just progressed our menu because we do vegetables, and we have like dips, jalapeno popper dips. That's very popular. A garden patch cheese. It's kind of like a pimento cheese. We use our tomatoes in it.
Yeah,
Um, our tomato pie, which has been really big during tomato season. That's the main things, but we just do things that are, we have vegetables. So,
yeah,
and everybody wants prepared foods now. It's
it's true.
a very, and we're trying to get, we're not with the health department, so we can't do meats, which that's what we're kind of working toward. But in order to do that, we'd have to change our freezers that are in our kitchen to commercial grade freezers and
Yeah,
stuff like that. So it's that extra expense, and plus our kitchen wasn't made for the size of those. So it's,
yeah, yeah.
it's like if we,
There's a company out in the San Francisco Bay Area, and their name is Good Egg. And what they've done is they have combined grocery shopping with prepared food delivery.
yeah,
And they're wildly successful.
it is a big, I guess my generation doesn't like to cook, I guess.
Well, a lot of
I
times you
love
have,
to cook, but a lot of my friends don't want to cook, don't like to cook, they
yeah,
just assume get it prepared. And I don't know, if I had time, I'd love to cook, but time at this time, well, not really right yet, but once between spring and summer, there's not a lot
yeah,
of cooking going on.
yeah. Well, I think that what I found interesting, I was just hearing about this company. I haven't even had a chance to look them up yet, but as far as the concept, people want the food delivered, right? Prepared
Yeah,
food delivered. And, if you can also do your grocery shopping, it seems like a great combination to me. I've not heard of anyone else doing that combination. There's a lot of food delivery guys and there's a lot of grocery shopping, but I haven't seen one where they put it together.
put it all
Uh,
together. Yeah.
so I thought that was kind of cool. All right. Hey, Patrick, how you doing, buddy?
Still on the right side of the grass.
Yeah, that's a good thing, right? I guess. Our grass is getting really green here.
So are my weeds.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the weeds seem like they're popping up quicker than the grass is.
We have two horses that live in a pasture out there, and this is the first year that we overseeded rye, which was pretty interesting. It only really lasted about a month before they ate it all, but it did make a little bit of a difference. We went through less hay than we otherwise would. Plus, it doesn't look like a battlefield out there. It just looks better, with the green grass, even so we've really liked that. And now around here it's the azaleas came out a couple days ago. It's springing all over the place here because my allergies can tell.
My allergies are knowing it.
Yeah, me too.
I finished a box of Claritin. I'm gonna have to change to Zyrtec, I think.
Yeah, I've gone through all the different ones, and it seems like they work for a while, and then you switch, and the new one works for a while. You just kind of rotate through all the different ones. So, Yeah, I don't know. Just basically, I try to keep my face out of, although I do have to cut the grass pretty soon every week, and that's about, I don't know, 8 acres worth of grass cutting, 7 to 8 acres, and
Hmm,
I wear a
What?
mask and goggles, and I look like a maniac.
a
But
lot of grass.
it is fun. I enjoy cutting it, but I don't enjoy breathing it. I'll say that.
I was just thinking I was going to try to help them around the farm, but the zero turn is the last machine. I said I wasn't going to learn to drive because everything I've learned to drive, I can't find anybody and I have to do it now.
Oh, okay.
Forklift, they taught me how to drive the forklift. Now I have to unload the trucks.
Oh man. Like every kid learns, it's better to say you don't know how to do it than to volunteer and end up doing it all the time.
That's why I said
I learned that when I
learn
was little.
if I learn how to drive the zero turn mower, that'll be my job next.
Well, I tell you, it's really fun. We have a zero turn and it's I think it's a blast. I'm a city kid. I'm not a country guy at all. So to me it's fun flying around and going around the fence line and doing all that kind of stuff. Although I've had some adventures running stuff over I wasn't supposed to and all that kind of thing.
I think that's
I'm
what I was
always getting, honey, did you run over the flower bed with No, I didn't. Well, then who the hell did?
That's what I asked my husband. I had planted for my father-in-law's funeral. Somebody had given us some azaleas and a thing, so I went and planted them finally by the woods, so he wouldn't have to go around them. Well, he didn't go around them again. He ran over.
Oh,
I
wow.
said, "Well, what happened to my azaleas?" He goes, "Oh, is that what that was?"
Oh, no. Well, so this place where we live, my wife's family, had been here forever and ever. And about 40 years ago or so, 35 years ago, maybe longer than that, her mother planted all these azaleas in the woods, basically along the driveway. I mean, a lot of azaleas. And so part of the farm is leased to this guy he's actually a next door neighbor, but he's also a farmer. And he had a whole crew of guys that worked with him, and he died. And so the crew was a little bit unguided, and they went in and cut down all those azaleas.
Oh,
40-year-old,
goodness.
some of them were 20 feet high.
Oh
I
my
thought my
gosh.
wife was going to levitate into space.
I bet.
Unbelievable.
But they come back, didn't they? Did they come back?
No, these well,
Not 40
it's
years.
about 10% of what it used to be, a half-mile long
Oh,
of these
wow.
beautiful azaleas in the woods, and now it's about 20 yards worth or 30 yards worth. So it's quite a difference. But we just don't understand, like, what in the world? What I mean, there wasn't grass back there. They just literally went into the sides of the road and just cut all the azaleas down. To this day, I don't understand it. It's a miscommunication somewhere along the line, I suppose. So, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. We hopefully we'll have some more folks come along. Today, what I'm going to talk about, and my goal really is to introduce you to these concepts as opposed to an authoritative way, how do you do this kind of thing? But we're going to be talking about marketplaces. And to preface that a little bit, I want to talk about kind of what's going on in the big picture. So many of you might remember about 10 years ago or so, there started to emerge these companies that were a little unusual. Like, how many of you remember Dollar Shave Club as one example? And there's others, right? And what these companies did is they basically developed a model that was extremely threatening to certain companies. Like, for example, Dollar Shave Club was extremely threatening to Gillette, right? Gillette is a maker of razors. And Dollar Shave Club basically came along with this idea of going direct to consumer from the web instead of you having to go to the store and buy it from a retailer. And Gillette had very little in the way of direct sales. Gillette and other people like that, they sold through distributors and through chain stores and so forth. So as a result, there was a whole bunch of discussion about what was going on. And in the case of Gillette, Gillette was a major employer in Massachusetts. They had to lay off thousands of workers who had been working there for a long time because the Dollar Shave Club and Harry's, and there's a handful of others, they started selling a lot of razors for a lot cheaper than Gillette sold them for. So what something you might pay $20 for from Gillette costs you $4 from the Dollar Shave Club, as one example. So there was a real big movement to create these direct-to-consumer websites. You might have heard of pets.com. There's a whole bunch of them, chewy.com, a bunch of different companies that basically started going direct to consumer. Well, what's happened now that's happened probably a lot because of the pandemic is there are now millions more people online buying than there was 10 years ago. By orders of magnitude, there are many, many more. And it turns out that those folks actually, if I'm going to define the word channel, they operate in all different channels, right? So one channel, for example, is Amazon. Another channel is eBay. Another one is Etsy. And there are a bunch of those. So the latest and greatest thing, and where the real volume is coming, is actually companies who figure out how to be what's called an omni-channel company, a company that can sell to more than one marketplace. Instead of, for example, just being an Amazon seller, now maybe you can sell on Walmart and whatever else, Target. There's a whole bunch of marketplaces out there. So this is also true in the wholesale space. Some of you sell wholesale to other retailers or other kinds of folks. So I'm going to just cover a handful of these places that are both wholesale and retail. So let me try sharing my screen, see if that works. So hang on here. Let's see here. Okay, I can do this. This is new for me. Okay, hold on one second. Let's see here. Okay. We'll see how this works. Hold on one second. I'll be right back with you. Can you see my screen by any chance?
See a Word document.
Oh, good. That's what I was trying to get to. So thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is there's a bunch of links here, and I'm going to open up some of these links and share with you some information about them. Some of these you'll be familiar with, some you may not be. I'm going to start off with this one, Etsy. See if I can make that work. Okay. Now, can you see that or not?
Yes.
Okay. So this is an example of a marketplace, okay? And you all are familiar with Etsy, and some of you may be qualified to sell on Etsy, some may not. I don't know all the requirements. Generally, Etsy is handmade stuff, but I'm not 100% sure if all that is true. But the point I want to make here is 10 years ago, Etsy's sales volume was around 7 million a year. And now their sales volume is around 1 billion. So the tremendous growth that they've had. So as a result, they have lots of people on Etsy looking for various things. And this effort here, this Etsy.com/sell, is really a place where entrepreneurs can decide whether they want to open up an Etsy shop or not. And there's all kinds of, you can see in here, different tools, education, and all kinds of stuff. They never tell you the problems either, there are problems also, like for example, with Etsy and a lot of these marketplaces, they actually don't share the customer data with you, believe it or not. So even though you are making a sale, you aren't necessarily going to get the email for that customer. So you're selling, but you're not necessarily building a direct relationship with that consumer, if that makes sense. Does anybody here have any experience with Etsy or thoughts? Okay, so we'll put that one away. So the next one, this is I don't have to tell you, it's Amazon. I want to spend a second here because one of the things that's happened with Amazon is that in the last 12 months, it's estimated that 93% of all Americans bought something on Amazon in 2020 and through the first few months of 2021. And what a lot of people don't realize, and maybe you don't realize this, but Amazon is actually not necessarily a store in that sense. They really are more of a marketplace. And the number I've heard, I don't know if this is true, but something like 70% of all transactions on Amazon are actually from third-party sellers. So for example, if one of you went on to Amazon and you wanted to sell products on Amazon, your product listing would show up like any other Amazon listing, right? Except in the small print, it might see sold by or offered by, and then there would be your name. And if someone clicked on your name, it's going to give you like your reviews and just a little bit of history, but it does not let them go to your website. It doesn't directly connect to your website. So and they also likewise do not share the email address and the information about the buyers on there. The amazing thing about it though, despite all of that, and Amazon has a number of different programs depending on how you want to interface with them. One of them is called Amazon FBA, which stands for Fulfillment by Amazon. So in that case, you actually ship the products that you want to sell on Amazon to Amazon, and they will pick, pack, and ship it to your customer, and they'll do the customer service as well. So many of the small sellers on Amazon take advantage of that because they don't want to deal with the logistics, especially if the volume of the particular product that you're selling is high volume. That's a lot of work, to ship out, say, 100 packages a day, particularly if you're in a rural area, and it might be a little more difficult to get UPS or FedEx to do the pickup, et cetera, et cetera. So there are lots of different ways that people work with Amazon, but here's a number that might surprise you. As of March, there are more than 20,000 Amazon merchants selling more than $1 million a year just on Amazon. 20,000. So it's a very vibrant marketplace. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot of transactions. There's lots of problems with it as well, which we can certainly go over if anyone, really seriously considers going on Amazon. But to me, if you're in the e-commerce space, you have to take a strong look at how can I use Amazon? Is there a way to work with them that makes sense for me? And clearly there is, since so many of their sellers are in fact small businesses like many of us here. Any thoughts or questions on Amazon?
So yeah, I've thought about selling on Amazon. So I'm definitely interested in finding out more. And I've gone to this page here and kind of read up. And it does look like it gets kind of expensive using Amazon too. They take a cut.
Yeah. Yep. No, it's go ahead. It's not free.
Yeah, I was going to say I've done quite a bit of research on Amazon because I was originally going to launch my plunger on there a couple of years ago, and I wanted them to do the fulfillment side because I didn't want to have to mess with all that. Like Dennis said, And it turned out that, you have to pay Amazon there's a charge for unloading a pallet. There's a charge for, putting stuff on the shelf. There's a charge for so it all kind of starts adding up. And I think on my product, and a lot of it had to do with the size, came out to be about, I was paying them $16 or $17 a product.
Mm.
And so I decided to do fulfillment on my own. And it was last week or the week before, one of our guests mentioned getting on Amazon and selling on Amazon. And so I started setting up a seller account last week and ran into this thing where if it's a brand new product, they've got this process you got to go through and register your company name. And it took me, in fact, I just finished. It took me a long time to get that pulled together because they want photographs of all the products. It has to be really professional looking. And they kept denying my application, but they wouldn't tell me why they denied it. So it was really hard to work through it. And I guess my point is, if you want to sell on Amazon, start the process early because it was a pretty time-consuming process.
Yeah. Also, keep in mind that we have a relationship with Amazon Explore, and the woman who runs that is a fast track to getting into Amazon. So I wouldn't hesitate to reach out to her if you're trying to do this. Part of my reason for getting engaged with them was I know she reports directly to the senior management, and it's a way to cut through. No guarantee, but she told me that she'll do whatever she can to help our companies, explore other parts of Amazon as well as the Explorer. So that was part of my game plan with getting hooked up with them. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. So give that some thought. Also, you might be able to go direct, with her help, or she might say, get out of here. Who knows? Okay, so now this next one, everybody knows Walmart, but here's some things you may not know about Walmart. So Walmart as a company is really focused on Amazon for obvious reasons, right? Walmart is gigantic. They have a lot of stores. They believe they actually have a competitive advantage on the point of view that they can, you could buy a product on the walmart.com and then pick it up at your local Walmart store as one example that they think they have an advantage for. And Walmart, up until about a week or so ago, the retailers were limited. They had to be US or Canada to list on Walmart Marketplace. But they've changed that. So now it's global. So companies from all over the world can now sell on walmart.com. And in the case of Amazon, for example, a large percentage of the companies that sell on Amazon are actually Chinese for obvious reasons, for low cost manufacturing and so forth. So Walmart is an emerging place. It's really very similar to Amazon in the sense that, it's this big giant platform and they're looking for small retailers to participate. Because they are newer and they're trying to grow, my guess is that they're going to be cheaper and maybe more accommodating than Amazon. I don't know, but it's an extremely viable marketplace. And it's something that I think, like if you look at your product, and I know Paige just signed on, so I'll just say grass-fed beef. I don't even know if grass-fed beef is on walmart.com. I haven't done the research, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. Same with Amazon for that matter. So, whatever category you're in, your product, look at these sites, look at Walmart, look at Amazon, and see if there is, competitors or parallel kinds of businesses that are on these platforms. I think you'll find that they are in fact there. It's more bureaucracy, more of a process, but there are many millions of people on these platforms. So I just encourage all of us to really think about how can we do this. It doesn't make sense to explore it. Okay, now I'm going to show you a couple of wholesale marketplaces, and this is a little bit different. So Supplied is an interesting company, and I don't know if any of you are familiar with them. This is really a place where you would either sell or acquire B2B type things. Like if you wanted to sell your products to other businesses, or you buy products from them, you have a store, for example, and you want to carry some of it. What's interesting about this company is it was started by a man who, and I'm not sure, he may have worked for Walmart. I'm not 100% sure of his history, but he was stationed in China for like 7 or 8 years. And in the process, he learned all of the manufacture and basically the whole lay of the land in China of how to kind of deal with them. How to get stuff made, how to get stuff, everything related. And it's a really big market. China has got just an insane number of manufacturers, distributors, etc. So what he did is he came back and he raised some venture capital and he set up this company, which basically gives you the ability to have all that inside knowledge. So if you're looking for product out of China, you can check in with Supplied and you might be able to get that done faster, better, cheaper than trying to figure it out on your own. That's kind of what they do. That's their niche, if you will. And they got a bunch of features, that they argue make them a good place for you to buy stuff, depending on your category. But it is an interesting company, and I encourage checking that out, because they do have a good reputation, and I like the idea that somebody who's been involved in this business is kind of behind it. So I'm gonna now some of you may have heard of this company. Have anybody here heard of FAIRE? FAIRE? Okay, so FAIRE is an interesting company. They are strictly wholesale. Okay, so and they are a company that sells products made by I'm going to say fairly high quality makers, right? Like you can see on this page here, this is a brand called AINI Organic. And they've got a number of products here. You can see they're high quality packaging. My guess is they're fairly expensive, but they're an example of the kind of brands that are on here. So, like for example, I think this is right. Okay, so here's Vivian Howard, who many of you know, chef and farmer in Kinston and her TV show, etc. So here she is selling some of her products wholesale, right? So they sell these on their website. They sell them in their restaurants and stores. This blueberry barbecue sauce was their very first product. That's made in Zebulon, by the way. Her books, various things, and she's selling it wholesale here, right? So for example, if you wanted to sell Vivian Howard's products, you don't even have to contact her. You can go to this fair and you can buy these products wholesale and sell them in your store. So it's a way of getting access to products that don't require a lot of heavy lifting on your part, to get a deal. You don't have to negotiate a deal or any of that kind of stuff. So this is a fast way for some of you, not only products that you might buy here, but products that you could sell here. If you're making food products, like Jenny with her cheese straws, let's see if I don't even know if there's anybody doing cheese straws here, or even if that makes sense as a wholesale market. But let's just see for the fun of it. Okay, so here are companies that are selling cheese straws wholesale. In this example, they're selling their cheese straws. Now I just happen to recognize this Mama Geraldine's brand because I've seen them in the store. Is the only reason, but there's quite a few of them here that are selling their cheese straws wholesale. So this is a way to perhaps increase your sell-through without having to call on a bunch of grocery stores or on a bunch of different kinds of merchants. You can sell through Fair. And as I pointed out earlier, you can see that these are, they're high quality for the most part. These are branded, nice looking packaging. So it's a little bit higher end than some of the other wholesale marketplaces. And maybe they have more food and beverage type stuff. I'm not sure, but you can see the categories up here: food and drink, women, beauty and wellness, etc. So there's quite a bit of access to products, both if you want to sell these products, you want to increase what you sell, or you want to have your products on here to sell wholesale also. And so, this is and I'll put all these links on the thing, but here, FAIRE is the company in this case.
Dennis,
Yes.
I sell on Fair. Just saw you scrolling, and it's been really nice. There's another company. Have you ever it's a little expensive, but I think it's going to work for some North Carolina specialty foods people with the special, with North Carolina. It's called Flavors Carolina, but have you ever heard of the Arrange Me?
Arrange Me, M-E, or Arrange Mate?
Me, M-E.
Oh, no, I'm not familiar with it. Let me.
Oh my goodness. Do some Googling on it. It's about $1,500, I think, I haven't done all the, can you excuse me? I've got somebody knocking at the door.
Yep.
I'll come right back. Excuse me.
If it's the police, call for bail.
Hmm,
Okay, well,
hmm.
I don't see it on here, but maybe she can.
Range Me, is that, no, that's,
I got Arrange Me. Let me try connected, see if that helps. I see self-publish your music.
yeah.
I think it's Range Me, RANGEME.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah, never heard of them.
uh,
There we go.
Yeah, I logged on to that, and she's right. It does look like it's a place where you put your products, and then retailers can come and ask you about the product, and you got to do a lot of upfront work. You got to upload insurance information and things like that, but it's a pretty cool site.
Oh, good to know. I've never heard of them. My guess is they're kind of competitors to Fair, would be my guess, because that, maybe Fair had so much success, somebody decided to fund these guys. I don't know. I'll have to look into them. First I've heard of them, though. It's great. But I guess the point, what we're seeing here is these marketplaces are part of the scene now, not just finding customers for your website, but also finding customers in the marketplaces where they might be, or where certain industries might have strength. So that's just something I wanted to bring up and point out to everybody as far as thinking about growing your business. Here's some things that maybe you hadn't thought of. I know I never heard of Range Me, so I think that's great.
Well, I apologize for that. It's a few things going on here. But Arrange Me is really supposed to be good. It became a little expensive and stuff, but I think Dennis, check into that, because that's anything for somebody who's wholesale.
Yep.
And I think it'd be good it's all across the country. So it's a bigger than Fair. Fair's more of a wholesale, how do you say this? Wholesale with mom and pop stores and all kinds of stores. And this other one, I believe, is more for grocery type things.
I got it. Well,
And
it's up on the screen if you can see it. Hopefully I'm sharing the screen.
yes, I can see that. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And my guess is there are even other markets that we're not even talking about.
Sure.
Would be my guess. Maybe even industry verticals, right? Like maybe there's verticals for, farm type food or peanuts as one example, so who knows? My real point in bringing all this up was just to really open your mind to channels of distribution that maybe you hadn't thought of. That's all. And it would be nice if I get a chance. I'll try to reach out to this Range Me and Fair them and see if they'll give us any kind of special deal for being in the accelerator. Sometimes companies will do that. you know, so if they will, then I'll certainly pass that along to everybody.
Oh, there, excuse me, there's the popo.
Okay, I'm back. So, yeah, so anyway, I guess the police came for Jenny and she'll come back at some point, but, you know, again, and the other thing that we're going to talk about in another class is I'm going to share with you an opportunity, hopefully it'll come through, to do this kind of thing directly in China and other countries, where you'll be able to sell your products directly to consumers in other countries, which is really cool. And I've been working with a company called Alibaba in China. They love American businesses, and it's because the Chinese consumers love American business, particular categories. Like, for example, Chinese people will not eat Chinese seafood. They won't do it, but they'll eat American seafood, but they won't eat Chinese seafood. Whatever. So that's one example, but we will be having stuff on that. I'm actually waiting for a contract from them where we get a special deal for our companies to be part of that process. And for some reason, it's dragging out. I think it's probably because we're a nonprofit and all that kind of stuff. It's probably throwing them for a loop. You know, what the hell is Accelerate Rural? So, you know, we'll see. Hopefully they'll come through with something that I can share with everybody. But that's really the gist of what I wanted to go over today. Is the thought of omni-channel, and omni-channel can also include, you know, like in Ginny's case, she sells to grocery stores, right? And so they're selling at their stores, right? I don't know if they sell her products on their websites or not. They might, but that's an example of omni-channel. Omni-channel means all channels, and so I think it's important for all of us to be aware of what channels there are and how much hassle is it, you know, to deal with it. I argue that it would be a good hassle if it actually results in volume for you and in transactions that help you grow your business. You can always deal, you know, those are what are called good problems to have, where you can deal with that kind of stuff. It's the lack of sales that causes most of us our biggest problems, really. So any thoughts, questions, editorials? Jenny got out of jail. She's back. I can see that.
I had to bribe them.
Yeah, it works. Whatever.
It did. It worked. I'm here.
Yeah. That's what bail bondsmen are for. God bless them, right?
Oh, thank God. If those were my college days, I'm quite familiar with.
I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. I'm not going to touch that with Tom's plunger, you know?
Don't touch it with Tom's.
So anybody have any editorial or thoughts they want to share?
Yeah, I talked to Alex after last week, and he was real responsive to start with, but I guess he's a fairly busy man, hasn't gotten back to me yet. But he did find out he was in need of Brussels sprouts from this area, and of course, this is not the time of year to be planting those to harvest large quantity, but I am waiting on word back from him, which may work out in a deal that incorporates me along with 2 other farmers to supply local products around here that go as far as Virginia, because his center here in North Carolina covers South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia.
Okay.
So Harris Teeter, Whole Foods, Lowe's Foods are the 3 companies that he has listed for the area that he supplies. So
that's wonderful.
That was a good connection for me.
Yeah.
I just hope that has the time to get back to me and set that up for the fall, because that would be a great, that would be a huge boost.
Yeah, he's on LinkedIn. He's very responsive there. If you want to check it out, that's how I met him, actually, was through LinkedIn and connected with him and invited him to speak. So I know he's paying attention there, so that might be a way to get to him. Anyone else?
Did you see the bathroom?
Okay. Well, that's all I have for today. Tomorrow, we have our guest speaker on packaging. And no matter where you are in that realm, this will be a great session because he can talk to you about all the questions you might have about packaging, pros and cons, colors, positions, boxes, unboxing experience. He probably will cover. So there's a lot that he'll be talking about. And then on Thursday, our guest speaker is going to be the CEO of Gooten. You gotta love that name, Gooten, Gooten. And they're the largest print-on-demand company as far as logoed material, logo stuff that you want to sell. He was one of my students when I was at James Madison University, so it's kind of funny. He's outranking me already. He's the CEO of a $100 million company, but he's a really good guy, really sharp, and he's doing a lot of really interesting things. I think he works with Nike and the NFL and a whole bunch of big guys as far as their logo merchandise goes. So he's another one that's a good resource for everybody. The beauty of his program is there is no cost up front. Everything is done based on when somebody buys the product. Now you do have to create the product in terms he's got the products, 250 of them, but you got to have a logo or whatever, to make it yours. So you got to figure that out. But in terms of, you don't have to stock it, you don't have to ship it, you don't have to do any of that stuff. And I'm not saying it's probably less profitable in that sense per unit than if you try to do it all yourself. But all those other reasons, you're already busy enough. You may not. This is something to know about and figure out if it's something you want to do. And he is the Cadillac or the Mercedes of the industry. So he won't hesitate to say, "Oh, you're better off with such and such company." Because I had a conference call with him with this big shot, and he told the big shot, he goes, "We're too big for you. You need to go here." He gave him the name of a company in North Carolina. It was hysterical. I loved it. So he isn't bashful. He's not dogmatic about it. He's good. And he's practical. So I hope everyone will enjoy that as well.
That sounds great.
All right. Well, I'm all out of stories at the moment, and Ginny's sitting there nice and calmly. She took her headband off. I guess it's time to say goodbye, and
Oh,
we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same station.
night, John Boy.